In the top right side, we have a Russian Zerg in the red. CSO Esports, it is YoungYakov. And the blue Protoss, it is Strange. Countryman, a fellow countryman of YoungYakov here, a fellow Russian. Slightly a bit older, but only by a few years. Still both youngsters in my eyes. Same as me, of course. I'm also a youngster. Don't get me wrong. We're all youngsters in heart. Alright. Nothing too crazy here out of YoungYakov. No Bly strategies here. We'll be going for that unnatural base. As the probe shoos him away from the regular natural. Alright. Nexus before the cyber core. Should be perfectly fine here. He has his probe on the other side after all, telling him what's what. Let me see. Someone's asking for the schedule. I should give him it there. At least I think it should. Well, we'll see. I gave a command in the chat. Hopefully it works. Okay. Base about to be ready. Regular gas mining here happening. Probe hasn't really done anything else but just kind of be a nuisance and waddle around. I thought that was the command. Anyway, the matches for after this will still be Clem versus Harston. And then for the NA brackets, quickly check. Vindicta versus BioEyes and Disc versus Reaper. That's still coming up after this. Twilight Council brought onto the field here by Strange. Could suddenly make him the person wanting to be aggressive here. I always still see YoungYakov as a very aggressive Zerg, although the last few times I did see him, it kind of made me wonder if he still has that creative kind of way of killing people in the early game. Of course, that might be something that, you know, the tougher opponents you get, the more difficult those types of plays will become. Maybe you're gonna get punished a little bit more so for your builds that just aren't as refined as perhaps some of the other builds. Whoa, okay. There are drones on the way. We're gonna have the drone drill. He's coming on through. Oh, this is gonna be a disaster for Strange if he lets this get through right here. The drones are already stacked up quite a bit. Will he react in time? No, there's no way a probe can get there in time. The drones are through. They're gonna blockade the area here. No wall to be constructed. We're really trying to block that entire area. The Zergling's about to be entering the facility as well, so the drones get further in. Zerglings, nice hold position on the drones and the probes. Zerglings still pushing their way through, and the wall's still not completed. And there it is. Alright, YoungYakov punishing the Adept Glaive attempted timing here. Wait a moment. He does still need to target things with his Zerglings. His Zerglings completely just baffled by the infrastructure of the Protoss here, and it looks like these couple of Adepts. Wow. I think they're going to be able to hold this, yeah. Yeah, there were definitely some options there for YoungYakov trying to run into the main base, trying to target down these pylons or the shield battery. Maybe even the gateway after that, such period of time, or just run away from this position, right? Don't let the Adepts fight you in the place where they would love to fight you. I suppose you do still want to try and have that entryway opened up. But now he's going to be fighting with Zerglings against the Adept Glaive, and that's just not going to work out. GG is called. Strange takes game number 1. Alright. Fast and furious with that one. We'll see game number 2. Will YoungYakov manage to push it through? That was very close. That was very close in the end there. Of course, it just seems... Well, there's still quite a few adepts, and those Zerglings are dying very quickly. But there was still a lot of probes that had to be pulled. That was still a bit of a desperate situation, trying to blockade anything what he could. And fantastically done there by Strange, finding that defense right there, because... In all honesty, if I was that Protoss in those shoes, I may have thrown in the towel at some point before. Once the Zerglings are in, it's like, alright, well, hands off the keyboard and into the hair. What can you do? But, great force field. Calmly kind of assessing the issues at hand. Building enough pylons so that if one would be taken out, it wouldn't matter that much. And yeah, finding a nice victory right there. Hopping into game number 2. In the top right side, the blue Protoss. Hailing from Russia, it is Strange. Another quick probe moving across the map. Once again, trying to blockade this hatchery, I imagine, of the Red Zerg. CSO Esports, YoungYakov. Alright, YoungYakov accepts his fate. Already thought that it would happen, of course, so you just kind of send your drone out a lot earlier than you would normally. That day 9 daily where he talks about the drone being sent out, so you know, he arrives exactly when you have 300 minerals. Remember when you learned that? Well, right now it's no longer the case. That one no longer applies necessarily in the ZVP matchup. Extra rules are added in on top. There's the Nexus. Again, before the Cyber Core, Strange hoping to get himself that slight economic boost. And once again, he knows he's perfectly capable of getting away with it. Still being a bit of a bummer with that probe here. Just gonna start up those 2 queens, right, rather than a quicker third base. Perfectly fine. We'll get you the larvae in another way. That's usually what people opt to do anyway, right? Those queens quite important, especially if your bases are stretched out like this. If adepts start showing up, you could be in a lot of trouble if you don't have that queen there. That would be a game that will start spiraling out of control for yourself. Adept Scout will be moving across as a Stargate in the production tab here. The Overlord's a bit hesitant, not quite sure whether or not he should be going in. You can see him reassessing the situation every couple of seconds. An Oracle will be added in. Alright. The wise choice, the aggressive choice. Well, maybe the Void Ray is actually the wise choice, right? Because the Void Ray is basically just there to deny the Overlords. And then you still have it there for a potential Roach attack later down the line. There it goes. Won't be able to see that it is an Oracle. But I guess, well, now he sees that there's another Oracle in there. Let's hope he figures out that that is indeed the second Oracle. I think he should be able to figure that out. Already adding in those Spore Crawlers straight away after seeing the Stargate. Will it get any damage done? Queen's starting to get prepared at the natural Or the unnatural. And they managed to deal with it very nicely. A good zoning away from that Oracle, definitely saving him quite a few drones. Only having lost one Overlord on that tab. Should be looking pretty sharp. Not running away with the drone counts, however, just quite. And, well, there's a Roach Warren here, still making a couple of drones. Yeah, I think he's just going to be trying to drone himself up here a bit further. I'm not anticipating any type of real massive Roach aggression, because we're not seeing a lair being added in with this. Seems like almost a must-have if you're going to go aggressive with Roaches. At the, you know, from a 3 base. Even from a 2 base, you quite often see that layer being added for Roaches as well. Just because the speed upgrade is so massive to get yourself across the map and just really on top of the units. Whenever you're trying to snipe out those units, right, those important Protoss units like an Immortal or anything like that, having that Roach speed, quickly getting yourself on top of it and bam, shutting it down. Here we go. Adept Glaive. It's a lot of Adept Glaives today. Will it work? YoungYakov probably has faced this quite a couple of times already, but that is a lot of Adepts. You can't always be ready for the number of Adepts. Oh, there's a wall here. Spore Crawler at the front, a couple of Roaches incapable of helping out with the fight though, and that is a problem. They will need to. And the Adepts actually don't get much of anything. 2 Roaches and a couple of Zerglings. They trade very favorably against that. But they don't get any drones. 55 drones now versus the 51. Strange has gotten himself a 3rd Nexus also. Now starting to add in an Immortal building. The building that builds Immortals. The robotics facility. Could be scary for when you're going Roaches. Oh, I love that with the Spore Crawler. Look at that. Why haven't I seen that before? Why have I not seen that before? That is so good. That is so good. You just have the Spore. Oh, my. How long has that been a thing? Alright, well, anyway. It's like having a little supply depot. Yeah. Takes a while to burrow in the ground, but you don't need it to fully in the ground, right? To start blocking the shades. Very nice. Although, of course, it doesn't really do anything until you do put it in the ground. But if you know there's like a massive Adept Glaive attack happening, right? Just having that there for an immediate reaction. I could save your bacon there. Very cool. Alright, anyway. Little detail. Roaches and Ravagers are starting to prepare to hit the 3rd base of Strange. And Strange seemingly could be underprepared. It looks a little bit underwhelming overall, the Protoss forces here. And that is the first Immortal, adding a bit of beef to the overall strength here. And the sentries, not an enormous amount of energy left on those guys, but still a couple of force fields could be popping up here, maybe making the difference in this fight. Files landing, there we go. Oh, starting to try and target the Adepts more so. Doesn't quite manage to make it work. Strange really controlling this fight incredibly well so far, as the shield battery overcharge kept warping in more and more Stalkers, and now his army is looking a lot tougher to deal with for these Roach numbers. Trying to get the Immortal there, finally managing to shut it down. Oh, but there's the Disruptor. One Ravager goes down. The Disruptor does go down, however, there's the blink forwards. Oh, that is so many dead Roaches. Very confident blink from Strange, telling YoungYakov, you get out of here. This is my base. YoungYakov still with quite a bit of army supply, however. Ooh, does not want to lose these Ravagers. Strange hunting More Zerglings now being added into this mix as well. Could still be a problem if these Stalkers over-chase. The Zergling is always such an effective tool against these Stalkers. Oh, 2 Ravagers going down to the Disruptor. I think here, unfortunately for YoungYakov, Strange might just have killed too much stuff there. 35 Roaches, 11 Ravagers, 74 Zerglings in total. Counter-attack could be a nice thing, but it's not gonna gain the upper hand in this battle. It's a Stalker. Disruptor, his true prize. Ooh, doesn't quite manage. Oh, no, he does. Using a lot of Zerglings for it, but I guess you should take that trade. I suppose that is a worthwhile trade. Oh, but then there's 2 Disruptors at a time being built. Man. YoungYakov, I like the fact that he's slowing it down a little bit here. Trying to get himself re-equipped, re-armed with something a bit more powerful. Is he going to be allowed to make a new transition into another attack, however? He's going to try. A couple of Zerglings trying to keep Strange on his toes. Keep him wary of counter-attacks and the swords. Buy himself some time. There's the Hydra Den as well. Hive Tack. Incredibly important, of course, if you want to get those Vipers out. And then you have a wonderful tool against those Disruptors. Upgrade-wise, the +2 weapons about to finish up for these Stalkers. They'll start hitting quite a bit heavier. Especially against those Roaches and Ravagers. YoungYakov, is he going to go for just another straight-up assault here? He very well might be. I'm not entirely certain. Does he want to try and take out the 4th base of Strange? He did manage to get himself quite high up there on supply. A lot of it is in Zerglings. Let's have a Baneling Nest, so he could just transform those into Banelings later down the line, making them a bit more valuable. Maybe with these Vipers out, he's going to try his luck again. And to be fair, he's got a pretty good setup now, tech-wise and army composition-wise, against what Strange has. But it comes down to the micro of these Vipers. Where do they go? There they are. How many of them do we have? 3 of them. That's a plenty. That's a plenty of Vipers. Right, bit too early for the time being. Wants to... I'll not give it away too much. Another Disruptor shot. A complete whiff. But, you know, you gotta try your luck sometime. Okay, yeah, YoungYakov, he was working on Lurkers behind this as well. He's maxed out already. Which kind of made me think he might try to do a push here. Or like, at least some sort of a pressure, right? Maybe split up his forces here or there and then just see which side is the weakest. And then just commit with that side. The other side pushes backwards. You just try to trade efficiently with whatever you have. Oh dear. Man, you gotta be so careful with this. Alright, he has the Vipers here. Ooh, couldn't get the abduct though. That's another Disruptor landing a... well, making a new swimming pool. His carriers are starting to be prepared for Strange. He's not just letting YoungYakov stay alone on his side of the field. Well, YoungYakov ready for that though. Nothing no Zealots had to say about that. 9 Lurkers is very, very fearsome opponents. But those carriers, definitely something that can take them down quite easily. We'll need to see a good, formidable amount of Hydralisk here still with those Lurkers. What we're going to have to see is Spire being added. Potentially 2 Spires for double upgrades for the Corruptors. As the upgrades for the carriers, well, +1 air weapons about to finish up. They're gonna have themselves the shield upgrade also. Never the attacker choice for people usually right off the bat, but later down the line usually quite a useful thing. Yeah, you know, he did skip the regular armor overall as well. Oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay. Yeah, that was a fight where Disruptors just managed to get a lot of shots in. And maybe YoungYakov being a bit too passionate with his lurker movements. Let's say passionate, shall we? He's still managing to have a bit of a hold here. Needs to shut down the Disruptors. Only one lurker remains, and that is going to go down soon. Drones may have to be pulled, but I don't know if the drones are going to be sufficient at holding this. That is too much. I think Strange may be on the brink of winning this one. Taking out a base here. One more army for YoungYakov remains. He still has a bit of bank. He could still add a couple of stuff to the overall production. He's starting up a Spire, probably hoping to still wiggle out something anti-air here. Spending a lot of his gas on the lurkers, however, and that is very scarily close to the Protoss army. If the Protoss army catches wind of these lurkers morphing here, doesn't quite know when those lurkers were started either, of course. And after killing another base, I mean, he doesn't even need to keep pushing here. He could just recall. Okay, he's unaware of the amount of lurkers that are here. So a good portion of gateway forces go down, but now the carriers... okay, he's okay. You know what? With the way he's approaching this, I would have loved to see... Well, the High Templar are there, aren't they? And I am asking a lot of him then. If I ask him to also get an Infestor in here, right? For the Microbial Shroud on the Hydras. Maybe get your Queens involved for the defense as well. Although he only has 2 Queens remaining. Counter-attack. Is Strange out of position enough? Starting to head back there now. It's the elite forces gathering up. Those storms are just ever so terrifying, aren't they? We still have Vipers. There's still one Viper somewhere. I'm not entirely certain where, but that Viper is a crucial way for YoungYakov still to win this game if he would want to. Unless if you could just kill your opponents, but I don't think he has the stuff. Do we still have Storm? More Storm? Only 1 Colossi? Well, 3 Archons there. Yeah, I think Strange has this. Carriers may not have that many Interceptors anymore, but the Zerg doesn't have any Hydras anymore. Really trying his utmost best here. Getting every single interceptor that he can snipe. You gotta admire that in a player. Sticking to his guns here until the very last second. Trying every little advantage to gain that he could. Oh, High Templar scarily close for the feedback. There's one feedback and there's the other. No Parasitic Bomb. No Blinding Cloud. No yoinks. Unfortunately allowed there. GG is called and Strange 2 O's. YoungYakov.